Hello and welcome to Trekkie and Beyond, a Star Trek podcast. I'm Anika.
And I'm Andrea. And welcome to episode 11 of season 2. It's called Perpetual Infinity. Let's get into this episode because it picks up right after the last episode, episode 10, where Michael discovers that the Red Angel is not herself, but her mother. So before we get into anything, what is your initial reaction about this episode?
Mixed reactions, but I feel like this is the case for me for the season. But I was hoping for more time with the Red Angel, and it was wham bam, thank you, man. She was in the beginning, and towards the end, she's out. So I was just hoping for more than an hour with the Red Angel. What did you think?
I hated this episode because instead of it being called Perpetual, what is it called? Perpetual Infinity? It should have been called Perpetual Incorrectness because so many wrong decisions happened in this episode. And to your point of we should have seen more of the Red Angel, if they had let her run the mission, we would have seen more. So I agree with you because we definitely should have seen more of the Red Angel, and we would have if the person who was in charge was her and not other people making a decision for her. In what world does it make sense not to talk to the person who's been going through time and not to have her make all the decisions because she understands what's going on versus So the opening scene of this episode was actually pretty sweet until the very end of it. Yeah. We get to go back into Michael's past and to the point of where the attack happened. And we see that her parents did have the time crystal, that her mother was doing the calculations to see if the suit would work. And it's very interesting what kids don't notice because her parents were very openly talking about the time crystal and everything in front of Michael. And she's like, dinner's ready. Oh my God, do you see the supernova? And it's like, they didn't hide anything from her. But when you're a child, you don't really pay attention to what your parents do or talking about unless it pertains exactly to you. So it was very interesting to see that. And then when they realized it was the Klingons coming and it wasn't like a little bright meteor that's going in the sky, but the Klingons were coming, that the mother jumped into the suit to rush back to the past to save everyone, and ended up going 950 years in the future. And so it's or at that point we just know that she disappeared. And then Michael wakes up and she's in the sick bay. She's like, oh my gosh, I had a dream. I thought I saw my mom, but it was me. And he's like, no, I'm sorry, honey. The reason we thought it was you was because you shared DNA with your mom.
Michael woke up thinking that she was dreaming.
Yeah.
And so I think that she didn't know that it was real. I think it was like
she didn't know.
Right. And so she was like trying to gather her thoughts just then. And I connect those emotions like, oh, that was real. Like, so I can imagine like she was in shock, and she also went through a really stressful time with that whole like, I don't know, the radiation and stuff like that. Dead. So and that's why she woke up in sick bay because she needed to be separate from her mother, who did not have to go through this radiation experience, I guess. And so they needed to take care of her. So there's just two main notes that I came out of this particular scene noting is that she did not remember everything like you just did from 20 years ago. And now she's starting to make those connections. And then also she wants to connect with her mother, but her mother's at a different place right now. And she's reaching out. And the only thing that Starfleet could offer her was the logs from her mother's missions. And so I think there was a lot, over 800 mission logs.
841 mission logs.
Right. That's so at least there's those journal entries, which is interesting because Michael also keeps journal entries to share along. And one more thing. So Culber's back in the sick bay and he's wearing his uniform. So he's back on duty.
Man.
But those were my main takeaways from that, was that her mother was on a mission in the bigger scheme of things, and was still working scientifically to document all of this for Michael. And she was calling her Mike. So she needed to stay focused on the big picture to save everyone.
Yeah. So right after that scene, we get another scene. So we go from like almost an emotional scene because it pulls on our heartstrings because we know how much Michael missed her parents, to almost going to another semi-emotional scene, but like, oh crap, I'm sort of sad that's happening to you type of scene with Leland on the Section 31 ship. We see that he did not die yet in the last episode. And I actually felt pretty bad for him because I felt bad for him in the sense that he was loyal to Starfleet. We may not have liked everything that he had done, but he was loyal to Starfleet, as in like, we may not like how his ends justified or how his means justify the ends, but he would have never betrayed Starfleet to let something else win. Like that was not who he is. He'll make stupid decisions and risk other people's lives for the betterment of Starfleet, but it sort of sucks. Like it sort of sucks how he's going to go out. Like he is captured by Control, and Control admits that they took over the Vulcan because it was easier not to emote like humans. And they need a body, a more human body, so that way they can further their goal. And they take over Leland's body, which again sucks because he's a character that we don't like because he makes a lot of times crappy decisions that affect other people. But at his heart, he was loyal to Starfleet. We may not have liked what he did to be loyal to them, but he was loyal to Starfleet. And now he's a traitor in his own body, almost like Ariam, but we liked Ariam. So like we cared more that she was hacked, and now he's hacked. And it's like, crap, I didn't like you as a person, but this still sucks that it happened to you. What did you think about that scene?
I don't like Leland anyway, because I felt like he could have shared his backstory knowledge of the Red Angel earlier. Mm-hmm. And also the way he was trying to track down Spock and like destroy Spock just to get those memories. Like mm-hmm. That's sketchy. So I don't know if he'll ever get into good graces for me, but it's interesting how there's this cycle. So Section 31 is this offshoot, doesn't have rules, help create a Control. And now Control is basically took over Leland. So this cycle is interesting. I feel like he it came after him, and rightfully so.
Well, no, but not rightfully so though. Like I don't like Leland either, but it's regardless of the fact that I like him or not, I know that he wouldn't have betrayed Starfleet willingly. Like he would never try to bring about the downfall of Starfleet and all of Earth's life. That's the way he gets to the end. Does it make sense? Is it good? Does it work for people? Is he a good person for that? No, but I don't think he deserved to be taken over by Control, because now you went from one of Starfleet's strongest, most loyal members, who, granted, yes, at the same time, does not do everything in a legal manner to get to where he wants to go, but he didn't deserve to die for that. Like he was taken over because he could do more damage.
I feel like if someone else was taken over by Control, then he would have been like, if that happened to Georgiou, if Georgiou was taken over by Control, I don't think that he would blink. I think he would do what's best for Starfleet, but I don't think he would show any empathy for Georgiou. He wouldn't. So
he wouldn't at all whatsoever. He would not. No, he would not show any empathy. And I don't really have empathy for him. It's just a situation. Like, because at the end of the day, like Georgiou, we don't know if she's loyal to Starfleet or not. We like her because we like the character, but we don't actually know if she's loyal to Starfleet or she's using them to get to her end goal of whatever that could possibly be, because she was an emperor of a horrible race. She was a dictator.
Right. Well, and she never went through Starfleet Academy, so she's not trained in the ways and has to go through like all of the rigors of that and showing allegiance. She never had to really.
That someone who was actually really loyal to Starfleet, we don't like him. We don't like him because of everything that he does, but at least we knew he was 100% loyal to Starfleet. At the end of the day, his job is to protect Starfleet. And now we're down someone who was willing to do the hard choices, because there are hard choices that have to be made in war. So it's more of like, man, they lost a good soldier. Not that I liked you, but Starfleet lost a good soldier, because let's be honest, Georgiou's going to probably be put in charge of that. And that's going to be a very dumb decision, because we like Georgiou, but is she loyal to Starfleet? We don't know. We know she's loyal to herself. We know she is somewhat loyal to Michael, but I don't really believe she's loyal to Starfleet. She's using them as an ends to a mean.
Right. Section 31 just needs to go on a hiatus right now. Like, who knows how far control has reached through Section 31 and the rest of Starfleet.
Yeah. And it's like this control makes a point to say there's 7,000 ships in the fleet. And while they may not agree with what I'm saying, they'll do it because it's an order. She chose the control. I'm calling control a girl, but control chose a good body. She chose someone who has power, who's in charge, who's known for furthering Starfleet's goals no matter what. It was a great choice on her part, bad choice on Starfleet's part, because again, they lost a good soldier.
Yeah, and I'm disappointed that Starfleet did not think about the fact that control could have spread. Like,
yeah, they just assumed they caught it and it was done. They didn't do any like extra checks.
Yeah. Like, hello.
That doesn't seem logical. But moving on to this episode, because I feel like there's so many different angles that we could discuss about Leland and everything. And so a lot of this episode, I feel like Michael makes the wrong decision. And it starts off with Paul, Tilly, Saru figure out that there's an issue on the planet, and basically time is trying to pull back Michael's mother, Dr. Burnham, back. And he tells Hugh to wake up Dr. Burnham so that way they can talk to her. And when he was able to do that, finds out that she only wants to talk to Pike and not her daughter. And so then Michael contradicts herself in the same sentence when she's trying to defend her reason for going down there, saying, I'm not as her daughter. I'm not trying to go there as her daughter, but there's so many questions to be answered. And shouldn't I, as her daughter, be the person to get the answers? And it's like, you can't say you're not going to go down there as her daughter, and then in the same breath, use the fact that you are her daughter as the reason to go down. And then I like that Hugh tries to explain to her, like, she's experiencing something that only she can understand. She doesn't really know who she is anymore, or she's not the same person you knew her as, and you have to respect that. And Michael consistently like refuses to accept that. And I feel like this entire episode, because she refuses to accept, she cannot make a decision for her mother. I feel like everything wrong that happened at the end of this episode was her fault.
I think it's really good that the writers was able to connect what Hugh recently went through with his, I don't know, I want to say like outer body experience, just with his experience coming back, and then things being different for him. Mm-hmm. And he's going through something else than what Paul, and they needed to have a break. I think that it was right on point for individuals that went through that to share that experience. Mm-hmm. Now, Michael should have made that connection, but she couldn't. She should have. Right. But so thinking back to this, and this is the reason why this ship needs a full-time counselor, and I wish I could send Michael to Cornwell to have another counseling session. But what happened here is that Michael misses her mother. She wants to connect, but her mother is at a completely different stage in this, because once again, her mother is focused on like saving all sentient beings. And Michael's thinking about herself right now. For those that can't see me right now, I'm pointing to myself, like she's thinking about me, and that's not where it's at.
And I'm losing my mind if you can't see me right now.
So I think this is a missed opportunity for Michael, but it goes back to what Spock was saying before. Like she right now, she's like she can be dramatic about things that's about her and not thinking about the big picture. So I understand that her mother, Gabrielle, is in work mode, and she's focused on, and I think the way she experiencing time is completely different. Like, she's always thinking, oh, I could go back and fix things. And she's probably seen a lot of, obviously, I guess now I'm thinking about it further, she's seen Michael die before. So
yep, she said she saw her die hundreds of times.
Right. She could go and fix something. She could go back in time, come back and fix it. So she's always in this fixing mode. Like, okay, whatever happens here, I can go back and fix it. So, and Michael's just thinking,
I want my mom.
She's just thinking about now.
Yeah, like, I want my mom now.
Not time, not the flexibility of 100% time.
100% agree.
Not what this technology can do to change mankind.
Not even thinking about what her mom's mission was. To stop. She's only thinking, you're like, I agree 100%. She's only thinking about what she's doing right now. Like, right now she misses her mother, but not thinking her mother's trying to stop the extinction, like you said, the extinction of all life. And Michael is like, well, I want my mom. And is not understanding you doing this action to save, in quotation marks, if you can't see me, quotation marks, save your mother, is going to destroy the entire world, because you can't think past logically, which is like your whole basis of your character, to think past this instance. And
it's like she reverted to her 12-year-old self.
Yes. And it's very painful, because even when Pike goes to speak to Dr. Burnham and Michael's relegated to watching it from the ship, Dr. Burnham is very matter of fact. And she's like, you're a ghost to me. Everyone in this universe is a ghost. And she's like, you destroyed the information from the spear. Destroy it. That is your mission. That is what you have to do. I like the way that her mother can disconnect her emotions. Like, we can tell that she cares, because she came back to save Michael in the last episode. She came to save her daughter's life. So we know that she loves her and she cares, but she also understands this is bigger than my daughter. This is bigger than me seeing her. And I like that she can understand that disconnect, because as she exists outside of time and she has seen her daughter die hundreds of times, yes, she wants to see her daughter. Yes, she wants to hug her. No mother who would go through all of this to save her daughter's life doesn't want to see her. But she also understands, it's no point in seeing you until I know I can save you. And so I like that Pike takes her direction, is like, look, we gotta destroy it. We gotta do what she says. We have to destroy the information. We have to destroy everything in the sphere. And it's actually pretty interesting that the sphere is able to fight back. I didn't think it would. I didn't think it would be able to fight back. I thought I thought this episode would be sort of short, like, oh great, you deleted it. Fun. I was very interested to see the sphere spot back. Did you think it could do that?
No, I didn't think about it, but now thinking back with the episode where we first met the spear, it did fight back in that episode. And it fought back also to save Discovery. Like, it timed it and pushed Discovery out. So that spear, I agree with Gabrielle. It's powerful, and all of that knowledge is very important. And in the wrong hands, it's dangerous, obviously.
It really is. So cutting back over to section 31. So Leland has been taken over by Control, and he basically tells Georgiou and Ash, we have a new mission, because the woman he knows, and here's the part that is very vague and also very smart that they did it this way. Leland says that he saw the body of Gabrielle Burnham, and so that's an imposter, which makes me think, one, was there ever a body in real life? Because again, going back to how I said last episode, didn't Michael say she heard her mother die? So wasn't there, how did she say her mom, she saw, how was there proof of death? That was my issue last episode about it being the mother. And so this episode, he's like, oh, he's trying to put fear and the doubt and fear inside of Georgiou and Ash's mind. And we see that Georgiou clocks it a bit. And even Ash clocks how matter of fact Leland is. And I was like, it goes to show control. Just because Leland was an asshole, they could definitely tell the difference between being an asshole and doing something completely crazy and out of mission scope. Because we see that we're told by control that they chose Leland for the fact that he makes all these hard decisions, or he always does the brute force way of pushing forward Starfleet, and that's why they chose him. And they think they could do that with him inside of him. And the moment that he control starts making these decisions, Georgiou and Ash both know there's something's off with Leland. And so like they really can't predict what humans would do. And so Leland gives Ash a mission to basically copy all of the information from the sphere, which they know doesn't make sense, because if it exists anywhere else, control could possibly get it. But Ash, we see when back on Discovery, when everyone's having that conversation regarding deleting it, Ash starts to record, starts to download, and then he stops it because he knows it's wrong. And then we also see with Georgiou that she's just clocking something is just not right with Leland. Like you make hard decisions that cost people their lives every day, but this seems wrong. So what did you think about how Leland interacted with his Section 31 people and how quickly they were able to realize something's wrong?
I'm glad that Ash trusted his gut in this. We'll talk more about Ash later, but I think it was during the scene in which Michael was talking about trusting her mother, and then Ash turned off the remote for the download process. So Ash was definitely uncomfortable with like the espionage to, I think he's comfortable being the liaison, but undercutting Discovery without telling the rest of, I think that's where he was drawing a line. And it's good that he has some ethical lines, because
what Michael told
otherwise all of this would go crazy.
Yeah. So on the second half is really focused on a plan that Michael enacts to save, quotation marks, save her mother. But before she gets to that plan, she does go down, I guess, the 5 Starfleet's or her mother's orders and goes to see her. And the first thing her mom says, basically, when she sees Michael, which is sort of heartbreaking, is no. And Michael, again, does the whole contradiction of, I'm trying to do this logically, but it's really emotional. And I feel like as her mother was explaining to her, look, I've seen you die 100 times. This is bigger than us. Like we need to do everything we can to stop basically the sentient life from taking over. Michael, like you said, I think like you said in the first half, she's transported to when she's 12 again. And she's like, Mom, it's been 20 years. And her mother's like, time doesn't matter to me anymore. Like this is bigger than us. You need to focus on the bigger picture. And Michael I feel like she listened to her mother, but she didn't hear her. And Michael can't see past that point. I think you mentioned that before in the first half too. And I can 100% still completely agree with you that Michael is very much reverted back to a child almost in this episode when it comes to her interaction with her mother. But after the initial time Michael goes to see her mom, she comes back. Her mother asks her, hey, did you destroy all the information? Did you destroy it? And she's like, we're not able to. And her mother's like, that's all that matters. All that matters right now is destroying that information so the sphere can't get it. And Michael's like, no, she's still in that child mentality of, I want my mom, which is understandable. Like, I don't want to say it's not understandable to not be emotional at this scene, because it is. If my dad came back today, I would be like an emotional freaking mess. I would be so very happy to see him.
Me too.
But if it's like, hey, I'm back, but you need to listen. I am only back to do this. And if I don't do this, everyone's going to die. Granted, I don't know if I would handle it better than Michael, but I would hope that I would. I would hope that I would make the decision to understand you can't, if you stay, everyone dies. Like, it's a very hard position to be in, but Michael, you have spent your life trying to make logical decisions on what's best for Starfleet as a whole and the universe as a whole. Why is it whenever you're pushed up against a wall, we saw it with Arium, you can't make the hard decisions. You cannot do what is needed to protect everyone because you're not capable. And I don't like that they're doing, I just hate that they keep doing this to her. Like, they try to build her up, and in the same episode, they make her seem weak. So then when she goes back to Discovery, they're coming up with the plan to figure out how to save her. And I find it very interesting is that they're not including her in this conversation. They're not including Dr. Burnham in a conversation about her own future. And it's like, you're doing exactly to her what she's done to you, and you're not seeing it. How is no one seeing it? You have Captain Pike, you have Paul, you have Spock, you have Michael, you have all these smart brains making a decision for someone else with knowledge you don't understand. Why are you leaving her out of the conversation?
Also, what happened to Admiral Cornwell?
Yeah, they don't explain where she went.
I could not find her in this entire episode. And I was thinking she had an important role in this whole mission.
Yeah, because she was definitely in the last episode. Yeah, she was in the last episode.
Yes, but then she disappeared. And so then it's just Section 31 and Discovery. And I think for me, I felt like Admiral Cornwell was like, I don't know, the leadership that we needed to oversee continuity between the two.
Yeah.
She should have been at the table for the discussion. That's all I wanted to say.
It's like goes back to the other episode where we saw Jet at the end of one episode and the beginning of the next one, she wasn't there when she was physically there at the end of the last episode, and the next one took place immediately after. Continuity, that's all I'm saying. But Spock is able to come up, he quotes them a old, I think, Chinese proverb, and they're able to realize the red angel suit can hold an infinite amount of knowledge, storage space. And so they can upload all the information to the red angel suit, and then from there, the suit could go to the future. And Michael immediately says, well, how do we save my mother from going to the future, without even stopping to think, maybe you should test out to make sure this works, that her taking all that knowledge to the future actually works before you decide to keep her in the past. Because if you send her to the future and it doesn't work, you've screwed everyone over, because now you don't have a way to stop it. And it's like, she didn't stop to think about the ramifications of trying to save her. And granted, they do come up with a way, because they're Starfleet and they always come up with a way to solve an impossible situation, even though it was impossible. And that's when Michael goes back to see her mother. And she's trying to figure out what they're doing, what's everyone working on. And Georgiou's the one who sort of shows up and explains everything, and they have a little conversation. And I like that Georgiou tried to trip her up, and she was like, I'm not the one you know. And she was like, you don't know what I know. And she mentions that Georgiou gives her life for Michael. This Georgiou gives her life for Michael. And I thought it was a very interesting, beautiful scene, because she said mother to mother. Mm-hmm. And when you think about it, it was Amanda who raised Michael, but Dr. Burnham is seeing Georgiou as more of Michael's mother. What did you think about that interaction between them?
I thought that was sweet, and I was curious how that was going to work out, because it could be a lot of conflict, because we saw that between Sarek and Terry and Georgiou episodes ago, where they were comparing how they raise Michael and interact with Michael. But Gabrielle, she has a lot of knowledge from the future too. So maybe Tyrion Georgiou is a mentor mother figure now, where Amanda helped Michael and I guess between ages like 12 and 21 or something, until she went out to Starfleet Academy. But it takes a village to raise a child, so maybe it's different stages. There's different support mechanisms for Michael. I could see this Tyrion Georgiou, when she's on her nice side, helping Michael with some good decisions when her heart's in the right place.
Totally. It was a very interesting scene. And also we see some video footage of, I know you mentioned this offline with me, of Gabrielle realizing that she can talk to Spock, and she's able to use Spock's dyslexia to communicate with him to save Michael from the Vulcan monster. I don't remember what the animal was called that almost killed her. It's like almost how, I think it goes back to what we were talking about last episode, that, because I know I said I wanted the Red Angel to be someone connected to Spock, but I guess in a way someone was connected to Spock. What did you think about that scene?
It helped me understand more why Spock was chosen, because let's just say everyone has their, like, I don't know, their special side. Everyone's special in their own way. And so Spock's dyslexia helps him to think differently and process things. And so she had this whole great big plan, and she's been working this out for years. Michael, just relax. Your mom's got this. She got you, girl. She like, like, this is some deep stuff. This is like deeper than Lorca's long game.
Yes.
Like, this is a major pull.
Yes.
And I don't know why she's not making this connection, that you have the biggest support mechanism ever behind you. Relax. It's gonna be okay. Yes. But Spock, though, was almost driven insane as he was trying to, like, absorb all this on their behalf to help make this bridge. So thank you, Spock, for helping with this journey. Oh my goodness gracious, just to think his life is on the line for all this. But using his I don't want to say disability, but his dyslexia to help navigate and help move this along was priceless. So it's turning a disability into an ability.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're handy capable.
Yes.
So jumping back, because this episode is a lot about, it's very interesting because she's Michael's mother, but she also mothers like everyone that she comes in contact with in this episode. And so after she and Georgiou have that conversation, and Michael comes back and Michael explains what they're going to do, her mother initially agrees with the plan, because she's like, well, then I can go back I can protect the information back in the future to make sure it all works out. And Michael's like, no, we're keeping you here. And Michael says the line, and I really hate this line because I hate this trope, I'm going to save you from yourself, basically. And it's like, Michael, you do not get to make a decision for your mother. Like, you don't, because every time anyone makes a decision for you that doesn't include, and you're not included in the decision, you always get upset. You, like your mother said, this is bigger than you. You cannot save her at the expense of risking the entire universe. You can't. And it's like Michael is not listening, and she feels like she's being the hero, and instead she's actually sort of being almost a villain, because she's taking away her mother's choice and her mother's mission because she just wants her mom. She wants to hug her. And it's like, I need you to see outside of your emotions. And it's very interesting how vastly different her mom and her are, because her mom can do it. Her mom can separate herself from her emotions and make a logical decision. And every time Michael tries to make a logical decision based on emotion, she always makes the wrong choice. And yeah, I think the exact quote was, Mom, whether you like it or not, I'm going to save you from this. Mostly I'm going to save you from yourself. But are you saving her, or are you actually saving her? But while she's having this little conversation with her mom, and that's when her mother lets her know what she said earlier, like, I've been with you your entire life. I've seen everything that you've gone through. I've always been with you. And still, Michael didn't really get it. They went through all of that emotional scene of her mom's like, I never left you. But you have to understand, like, this is bigger than you. And she still doesn't get that she has to let her go. And it's like, Michael, please understand, this is bigger than you. I don't know how much more I can say. This is bigger than you. And while she's having this conversation with her mother, we see that Georgiou stops the download of the information because she, again, realizes something's wrong. This isn't adding up. And I think it was the mother-to-mother comment that Gabrielle said, because I think when she said that, that's when Georgiou realized, okay, Gabrielle said, I think that's when Georgiou realized she's really her. This isn't a Trojan horse.
This is all crazy. I just think Michael's stubborn.
She is. Because her mom calls her that. She's like, where did you think I learned it from? I was like, yeah, but stubborn doesn't mean good. Stubborn doesn't mean you're making the right choice, Michael. Like, please understand that. But after that whole conversation, Georgiou then, she then goes to talks to Tyler and is like, something's up with Leland. Go figure it out. And I love how Georgiou like sort of threatened him, and he was like, I've already died. You're just letting me know that I get to see the scenery now. Like, cool, we're on the same page, don't worry. And he goes into Leland's quarters, and we see control like all over Leland. Like now we see that Leland isn't really even human anymore. He's completely a full like robot, nanobot. And they have a little fight, or a big fight. And I like how you said earlier in this episode, I think Ash was like gutted, or no, he trusted his gut. And I was like, yeah, his gut, because he gets stabbed in his gut. Oh, great choice of words. And then he sends a private message to Discovery. And it also goes to show how people on Discovery, while they don't fully trust Ash, cared when they saw his face and with his current position, like what he was going through at that moment. And the only thing he could get out was Leland. And then it cuts to Leland being down on the Earth, or on the planet, and he is a one-man army.
If I'm remembering correctly, the scope of the episode, this was a really good fight scene between Leland and Georgiou.
Yes,
they were fighting. That was impressive.
She was rocking him until he grabbed her hair and like sort of threw her down. I was afraid that she died in that moment. I was very afraid that she died when she fell and her legs went over. I was like, oh no!
Right? But she's basically fighting a cyborg?
Yeah.
Like, great. So
she doesn't have pain receptors, I don't think, anymore.
Right. So even though that's this Terry and Georgiou, amazing. We've seen her fight before with the Klingons and stuff, but this is a whole other level when you're fighting
someone who doesn't feel pain.
Yeah.
Because like your hits still hurt you when you hit someone because it's still an impact, and he's not feeling anything. So what are you really doing? But you're right though, it was still a great fight scene. When Leland first came, her mother said, let me go now, and he can't get the download.
Right.
And Michael was like, no, I'm going to save you. And because Michael, again, did not listen to her mother, Leland was able to destroy the time crystal on the suit. So her mother, Gabriella, was still taken back to the future and now has no way of coming back. And it was like, Michael, this is actually your fault. The fault that your mother cannot come back anymore is yours. Like, because you refused to listen to her. Because if she went to the future, she couldn't see that if her mom went back to the future, her mom could come back and see her. She didn't think of the fact that right after what you said earlier, her mom had this super long, beautiful like monologue about how much Like she's been at every single step, important part of Michael's life. She's been there. She couldn't see, if I let her go now, I can have her later. And now, because you didn't let her go now, you may not be able to have her later because the time crystal is destroyed and the suit can't come back anymore. And Leland still got the information. So it was like, what did you actually do, Michael? And that is the part that pisses me off about this episode, is that now, last episode, she was able to let go of, they had made her be able to let go of all of this guilt. Her parents' death was not her fault. Spock forgave her. It was finally on a spot where she was going to be lighter and not held down by all this emotion. But going to the ending scene, we see that Discovery is like, all right, we're going to fire the crap out of this space. We're going to kill Leland because we realize he's not on our side. He is, or either he's, I don't think they know, because Ash didn't say he was Control. Ash only said his name. So I don't know if they know yet that he's part of Control or if he's just working for Control. Like they don't really know truly why he betrayed them. And so like, I agree with you. Like you said, I hope that Georgiou was beamed aboard Discovery because she fought back. We see that all the Discovery members were beamed back aboard, and Discovery was like, I am destroying that location. But we also see that Leland was able, well, they don't say Leland. They say Section 31 was able to get a transport off the ship. They don't say it was Leland, but we're led to believe it's Leland. They said that Section 31 was able to transport one person off the planet.
Right.
They don't say who it was, but
right.
The escape pod was Ash escaping before Section 31 covered their warp signature. And while they don't say it was Leland who was beamed back aboard Section 31, I do believe it was him. Because why else would they hide their warp signature and escape? My question is, if Discovery could see what was happening, did Section 31 not see what was happening? And that Leland was like, went against the entire, is it just blind loyalty over there? Like, I don't know. Because it seemed like he did so many things wrong that maybe you shouldn't have beamed him back aboard. So like, were they not watching? So that's my question about Section 31 of like, why did they beam him back aboard and then like still let him be in control? You know, unless Control is controlling the beaming. There's a whole rabbit hole we go down with that.
yeah. I think that's definitely the case. And also like, we don't know the rules for Section 31. That's a CIA operatives have a whole other set of rules. And they're like, okay, this is our captain. We're bringing him back and we're escape. I mean, I'm just thinking that if Ash was on that escape shuttle and he was taken over by Control, he would have like two other consciousness. Like that would just be whole crazy. He has bulk already.
I don't think Ash is taking over, because I don't think Ash was taken over by Control. I don't think, but granted, you never know. Right. So I hope he wasn't. But the episode ends with Michael laying in her bed, like basically feeling sorry for herself, and Spock, being the great brother that he comes in to her room and tries to basically make her feel better. And I have to disagree with his disagreement with Dr. Burnham said, because she said noun doesn't matter. And he was like, your mother was incorrect. Noun does matter, which it doesn't really, but whatever. He's like, what happened before no longer exists. What will happen next has not yet been written. We only have now. That's our greatest advantage. What we do now here in this moment has the power to determine the future, instinct and logic together. That is how we will defeat Control in the battle to come. We will find a way. All of history can change with our next move. And I thought it was a great inspirational speech, but I also thought it was full of crap.
He's just trying to soothe his sister.
He is.
That's depressed right now.
Yes, he definitely is. But I thought it was all full of crap, because all of that would have been perfect if the mother suit could still work, because they would be able to know if what they did was working, you know?
And he set up the chessboard and she joined him for chess, and like
that was a great move right there.
So
that was great.
It's connecting them together.
Breathing in.
So I have a few discussion topics for you. I know we're tight on time, but really quickly, Michael's mom said that she didn't know where the 7 angels came from.
The 7 signals, yeah. She did mention.
Sorry, 7 signals.
Yeah, she did say those weren't from her. So I wonder if there's another time person out there who did the 7 signals.
Right. So that's a concern of mine. And then also we know that the time crystals came from the Klingons. So that's unanswered. It looks like she was residing in New Eden, the Terrium planet, Terralisium planet, and which is where New Eden like expanded. So that I found interesting, that she found like her niche there is her safe space to go to. But in the flashbacks, I saw Michael Burnham's father, but I don't know what's happened to him now. Did you see anything? Did I miss anything?
So I saw that like he went to go like kill the Klingons, but obviously he failed because they still made it into the room. Well, I'm assuming he failed. But I know when Michael tried to bring it up to her mother, she was like, no. So right. I don't think her father is alive, or if he is, her mother's not aware. Right. Because I believe if Michael's father was alive in this timeline, that she would have directed any of her conversations to both Michael and her father. And it seems like she was only ever really talking to Michael in her mission log. She wasn't talking to the father. So I'm believing, because of his absence and everything that she's saying, right, he's actually dead. Yeah. Or to her knowledge, he's dead.
Right. So I'm just looking for closure there, because I know he knows about the time crystal. He was there. We don't know. And there's still a mystery about the 7 signals. So whether there's another red angel out there, I don't know, but we'll find out about that one. And did you know who's playing the part of Michael's father?
No.
Sonequa Martin Green's husband is playing
her father? No. Yeah. No.
But her younger self is not her. So
I know. I understand, but it's no. So it could just be me. It definitely could I could be the only person, and everyone agrees with you, because
okay. So everyone, his name is Kendrick Green, and his character's name is Mike Burnham. So it's interesting. Like, she's like Mike Jr.
Oh, wait. So yeah. Okay, so she could be talking to Mike. Her plan could be that she's going to go back to, but still, maybe her end goal was to figure out what's going on in the time stream and then go back to an hour before and still save her husband.
I think that's her. Yes, if she could.
Which would be perfect if Michael would not make stupid emotional decisions.
Yes, I think that's the underlining theme. And we've just wrapped it up this episode.
I have no idea. I'm at a loss. I'm done trying to figure this show out.
I think we've covered it all. Just looking for more closure, and that's hopefully in the next 2 episodes.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed, everyone. So thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you later. Because as always, I'm Andrea.
I'm Monica.
And live long and prosper.